Hey guys, it's Orlando with Filmatic, and I hope you're doing well. It has been a grind. First off, I want to apologize for taking so long to drop these videos. A lot of them have to do just mainly with time. I have been crazy busy, and I think it's because of you guys, because of YouTube. So, first thing I want to do here is recommend, especially since the new year is right around the corner, start your YouTube channel, drop on it frequently. Make sure people get to see, what you're doing. Just like you have a website, just like you have an Instagram, just like you have all those different things. Jump into it. You will not regret it. For me, in the beginning of the year, I promised that I would drop a video every single week, and this is me dropping it before the week is over. So I'm super grateful that you guys are following along and that we are staying busy. I forgot what week of the year this is, but I dropped the video every single week, sometimes even twice. And super excited that it's been going on. I don't get a ton of views, but honestly, the more I see it, the more people talk to me or tell me that they're following what I'm doing, the better. Because you never know what eyes are looking at your channel. So make sure to put that out. So with that said, I just want to go over a subject that I want to help you guys out a little bit on. There are a couple of things that people have asked having to do with Net30. So we were going to talk payments and payment structures that you can find yourself in. Now on the interwebs, there's a lot of people who are pushing these master filmmaker classes that say that they will help you land clients and land clients, and you'll have like a retainers and things like that. So I want to identify a couple things real quick and then share with you what side I'm on of the spectrum of filmmakers. So in the industry, there's technically you have to decide if you're an agency or a production company. And then there's subsidiaries of all this stuff. But out in the industry, if you're a production company, normally you are someone that mainly deals with production, post-production, dealing with everything from filming, editing, coloring, all that stuff. That would be under the umbrella of production or a production company. That means that people will call you and say, hey, we have a shoot, or we have this creative, all this docket or this deck that says what we're trying to get done. And a lot of times on the interwebs, people don't really understand the difference between, just a straight up production company that already is receiving materials or is receiving scripts or is receiving ads that are already created in terms of the actual creative, everything from more of the write up, the scripting, the ideas are kind of already brought to the production company. Sometimes production companies do have writers in house. They do have people that they can put on staff that can help with creative or help to just decipher exactly what the client is bringing. On the other side, you have an agency. An agency is a company that deals with the client. So the agency is like the intermediary, what a lot of people call the middleman. And the middleman is the one that a lot of people don't understand why they work with agencies, or when, for example, they find out that the agency was awarded $1 million, but they're hiring you only for $50,000. They're tripping out because that agency got $1 million budget and you're only getting $50,000. They don't really understand that. So an agency usually works with companies more or less on a retainer, or like on a quarterly basis, or sometimes it could be on an annual basis where they receive a lump sum of money from a client. So let's say that company it's a mega company, maybe it's a phone company, maybe it's a computer company. They hire agency, and this agency will then get, let's say, for example, $1 million contract with them to create a bunch of different ads, all that kind of stuff. So you have to kind of think about this, where if you divide the money over the span of the year, then if you take $1 million, let's say we take $200,000 off the top of that, and say that that's profit that the agency wants to keep. Then they take another 100,000 or 150 and they hire one person or two people that are directly in charge of the creative for that company. Well, then this agency really only has probably close to $600,000 to spend on the $1 million budget that they received. And then if you divide that 600,000 across the 12 months, then you can kind of see like where it ends up. So let's do that math real quick. So 600,000 by the time we're done there, divided by 12, they only have 50,000 a month to work on, probably per month. So now they have to think of they're designing campaigns, they're designing a bunch of different things, and this is where a lot of people just kind of get it a little bit twisted in terms of like how it is to work with agencies. Now, agencies, yes, sometimes they milk certain things. Sometimes the budgets are ballooned. They're like way more than they need to be. But that's because they have a certain rapport with that company, that their client that they're working for. So usually for a long time, agencies would hire production companies to then do the work. Over the past couple of years, this happens probably like every decade. An agency all of a sudden hires in a production company, and then they represent the production company, and then they're representing all the work of the production company. But whenever they do the projects, they do everything what they call in-house, right? And what's happened, especially lately within the community, is that there's a lot of these, like I said, master filmmakers, a bunch of different people who are selling this mindset that the filmmaker needs to sell retainers. And the retainer ultimately means that you are becoming an agency. So if you're a video production company or even a company that's offering video, video websites, graphics, print, pretty much you're married to a client on all their branding aspects, on all the marketing aspects. You are now an agency. Even if you call yourself Video Co. or Video whatever, you are essentially an agency. And I think that's the one thing that a lot of people don't understand. So why is this important? It's important because if you're out there trying to become a filmmaker meaning that maybe you want to work on short films, maybe you only want to do commercials, maybe you want to do movies. When you jump into a model like the retainer model, it's pretty easy to get work on that side, but what happens is that all your time gets taken up. You make a lot of money, and I've seen a lot of people grow within a year. You know, they're making 200, 300,000 easily, locking in a bunch of mom and pop shops for $2,000, $4,000 a month. So you can do the math really easily, right? Let's say that you go to a mom and pop shop and you're charging them $2,000 a month to do like maybe 2 photo shoots, 2 video shoots, and then you give them 10 video posts, social media posts. Let's say you do that, right? So if you do 2,000 times 12, right? You there with one client, you just earn 24K. That's simple. If you think that you can take on more than those clients, let's say you go ahead and have 10 clients a month that you can deal with, and you start bringing people in and all that stuff. Well, if each client, right, 10 times is at $2,000, right, you're now making $20,000 a month. And if you do that over the year times 12, you're at 240K. So you can almost think about, let me hire someone on for $45,000, a new person that can shoot. Boom, now I have 195 left, and I can go ahead and add maybe another 5 of these to my pool, right? And bring in another, another 5 times 2,000 times 12, another 120,000 just by adding the other person. It's essentially the same thing as becoming an agency. So the retainer model is that. So a lot of people have to figure out what they want to do. Do you want to be an agency, or do you want to be a filmmaker? And a lot of that has to do with you just kind of making a decision in the beginning. I cannot be an agency. I decided that in the beginning that I'd rather freelance and not be married. That's how I feel that is be married to company, and that's because I am that kind of person that doesn't like being told what to do. I'm an agreeable person, but I don't like feeling like I have someone stepping on my neck and pushing me to get things done, or threatening me to lose a job, for not doing just what they want, even if it's not the best decision. So, what better person to beat me up than myself as a boss, right? So I'm my own boss. I can figure out how I need to work and how I need to do that. So if you're in that position where you're trying to figure out what you're trying to do, especially next year, now that we're like getting close to it, decide whether you want to be an agency or if you want to be more of a filmmaker or a production company, someone that kind of is a resource to an agency. So what can you do to make money like the agency does? Because it's a really good model. It's not that hard. If you find good salespeople, I mean, they can go and sell for you, and you can just keep adding more clients. And maybe in the beginning you're adding 2 clients at 2,000. They're your first clients. You're helping them grow, and then you find 2 other clients and you're selling and you're getting them for 5,000, and it just keeps escalating that way, right? And that's why you'll hear every once in a while, someone say, "Hey, I landed a $70,000 client," and then you do the math, and you're like, "Oh, $70,000, that's good, right?" But then I divide that by 12, and that's I probably have a bunch of small $5,000 jobs throughout the year, and then you have to think like, is that worth it to you? For me, I realized that if I go shoot for one day as a specialist, a cinematographer, which that's what I am, based out of Houston, my cost is really, really cheap. My cost of living, I can charge pretty well, and one day of me working, I could probably bring in close to 4 or 5 grand. And that's because I'm providing equipment, I'm providing crew, I'm providing knowledge of, the area that I'm in, especially if they're coming in to film to Houston. We can, be a very, very good, adequate crew. And maybe that one day I'm profiting about $4,000 or $5,000. That's very, very normal when you're at the position that I'm in, to with the experience and the time and the ability to deliver very, very high level projects and asks from agencies, from clients, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, I mean, I really want to just kind of inform, because what's out there, a lot of people are just kind of, I think they're trying to sell something that you won't really understand. And if you jump into the agency model and start getting all these retainers, I guarantee you're going to be really, really burned out. And it's one of those things that if you're already burned out and you're already trying to find a way to get out of it, I get it. It's hard, but just start, getting ready. Put an end time to your contracts. Make sure it's there. Only have them for a year, or have them say, "Hey, we're up for a new negotiation," and move on. Find ways to move on. But if you're really into trying to make money as a freelancer, there's a lot of different ways to do this too, and you kind of have to safeguard what you want. So I would say, as a freelancer on that side, there's one thing that people throw around, and they even do it on the agency side. It's called Net30. If you've heard of the term Net30, Net30 is where they say is that they're going to send you the money for the project in 30 days, or 30 business days, but really it's like a month. It's a month's time. Some people do Net 15. I've been on projects that are Net 90, Net 120, just insane time frames. And a lot of that really doesn't make sense. A lot of agencies and companies will do this to just be able to hold the books to the next one. So, for example, if let's say that they already filmed everything for a month, for quarter 2, all the funds are dried up from quarter 2, meaning like within in the company or in the corporate season or in the business season, we work in 4 quarters, being like every 3 months is another quarter. So let's say that the funds that you had available for quarter 2 as business, the business that has for that one client, let's say that agency, their money dried up already for quarter 2, and they're about to spend for quarter 3, and they need to deliver something for that client that they have. Well, they might come to you as a production company or as a freelancer and ask you to, hey, we need a film in quarter 2, but you don't get paid until quarter 3 money. And that's kind of their way where they're kind of like rolling the rolling the money. And sometimes even I've been with agencies that work with companies that pay them after 2 years of working. So like it's not net 120, it's like net two, net 365 times 2, like crazy stuff where they're under a tremendous amount of debt. Maybe they have a bond or something for like $5 million, and that agency, that client, makes sure that they can cover all the expenses no matter what. And at the end, they go ahead and expense everything, and then they get their profit, and they walk away with very, very good profit, but they have to front everything. And that happens a lot there. So these companies try to also get freelancers or other people to work under the guise of net 30, net 60, net 120, or et cetera, So the one thing I would say that if you find yourself in that situation in the beginning, it's really hard to say no to a net 30. It's really hard to be able to tell people like, hey, I need to get paid for this, and there's no reason, especially like production assistants who only get paid like 150 to 350. I find it in my world that I try to make sure that they get paid like fast because it's such a small amount. They're literally day players, so they're just working quick. But just because people tell you that, they're net 30 doesn't mean that you have to accept the job. I've gotten to a point where I was able to charge a pretty good amount for my DP rate. It actually went up to a very, very good rate. Even my current rate is okay, but I had to drop it like by $500 because of COVID. And then there was a point where people weren't telling me no at my rate, and my rate was really high, especially for Houston, but people weren't telling me no. Now I'm at the point where I could raise my rate again, but I almost feel I like it currently that people are telling me yes to my rate, and they're telling me I have a non-negotiable, like I don't do net 30, you have to do a 50% deposit, upwards of 75% if you're an international client. And this isn't with everyone. Of course, if we have a big project or a project rate, then we find ways to fix the deposits and fix the percentages. But I found that now I can get a lot of clients to pay me up front. And to be honest, if I was able to get companies like Google, Meta, or maybe it wasn't them directly, but it was agencies that were hiring me for those kinds of jobs to pay me deposits, then I'm pretty sure anyone else can pay me deposits as well. So here are some of the things that I use to try to get people to pay me before net 30. One of them is we'll have them pay all the equipment up front. So you kind of mold your bid to be half of it to be your, let's say 50% is all gear, and then the other 50% is all rates. So if you're still in 2026, if you are still charging a flat rate fee that includes all your equipment, you're losing. I'm gonna tell you that right now. You got to change that. You have to have a worth for yourself, even if it's I'm $500 and the gear is $1,000. Cool. Like if that's what you've been charging, $1,500 all inclusive, stop doing that. Just say, hey, I'm $1,000. All my gear's $500, right? And that way they know that there are two fees for working with you. And what I've been able to do is I kind of just try to split it in the middle or mess with the numbers a bit to where they can pay all the gear up front, because rental houses always have to get paid up front. That's always been, from what I understand, an industry standard. I know some have a rapport with other agencies and they allow the 30 because they've always paid it, and that's okay. But I, as a freelancer filmmaker, I'm not here to, but me as a filmmaker, I use another term that I love to use, where I tell the companies that I'm not here to finance your project. In other words, I try to tell them in some way, like just how people would say, oh man, you're poor, just tell me, just tell me, like you ain't got no money, tell me that, I try to use that little bit of playing around, talking with their CEOs or CFOs or whatever, and just ask like, oh man, do you guys need me to finance your project, or I don't really understand what's happening. And a lot of the times they know, like they just know that, okay, this guy's not gonna do it, but we like his work, we like his humor, we know that he can do the job, and if other companies are paying it, then I can pay it too. Okay, and that's worked very well as well. So 50% one, the other one is just kind of, telling them like, I don't finance their projects, and I'm sure someone has a credit card somewhere in the company that can swipe, and they can swipe and pay the invoice, and then we should be good. Another thing that I try to do with the clients is that if I do have like, let's say that these are clients that have really big budgets, then I try to deal with them and say, hey, give us a project rate, pay us 25% at this point, this point pay us another 25%, or start paying us, if you're going to hold the date, I need to get 50% down, it's non-refundable. Like, just find ways to let them know that you do not do net 30. And I think that's the biggest thing, because a lot of people just assume like they're going to go work and they're going to do this, and then you're on set and you're hoping to get that check at the end of the day, and then they're like, oh no, we pay net 30. Like, you didn't say that. And I use that to my advantage. I tell them like, you never told me that you paid net 30. Oh, well, that's industry standard. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm in the industry and it's not standard for me. I haven't seen a net 30 payment in a couple years at this point, So, that's the thing I kind of want to just share with you guys. More than anything, more than just giving you updates of what we have going on. I really want to just give you a little bit of that knowledge, especially since we're jumping into the new year, and that's right around the corner. It's only 3 weeks away, and I want you to focus on your financial, get your money up. Like, get your money up. Make sure you're charging people right. Try to get to where you need to. And if you have any questions about this, or if you have any horror stories about that, I'd love to hear. I'd love to hear the longest it took someone to get paid from a company. I'd love to have that somewhere in the comments below. And I have some stuff that I was sent by a couple companies that I want to do a giveaway in the next week or two. And so soon we'll start doing some of those comment bombing and seeing if we can get a cool comment up, and I'll give away a gift. So I appreciate you guys hanging out. I hope y'all learned something. I know this was a little bit blabby. I know I was just a little off the cuff, but I kind of got annoyed with some of these ads that keep popping up about people like, do you want to be a filmmaker? Do you want to make $100,000 a year? Like, dude, that's not real, but it does work if you want to go that route. So if you guys have any questions, hit me up. I appreciate the follow. I appreciate the subs. I appreciate you guys even reaching out on Instagram and hitting me up and asking questions. I'm always down with that. I also want to thank U of H and Ritual Cinema for inviting me out to a workshop that we did just yesterday, which was Saturday. It came out dope. It was pretty cool. I got to hang out with the homie Alan Wynn, who gaffed a cool little workshop there. And it was cool. We had like 50 people that came out, which is pretty cool. I'm hoping to do workshops. I was supposed to try to do a Texas tour this year, but if you're out there and you're in Texas and you'd like to do some cool workshop where you're at, let me know, because if we can get like 10, 15 people in each one of these places, I can go promote it more, and we can go do a cool Texas tour next year and just, bring some cool gear, create something cool. We can all eat together, hang out, and we just keep building up the market and all that together. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you. Thanks for watching. We'll be talking. Subscribe. I'll see you next week. All right. Peace. Oh, yeah.